Awesome. So this is the inventory tool. I went over a little bit with Eric at the convention also. And the main thing here is a lot of people love to email. A lot of people love to call for quotes. Like, what do you usually like to do? What would you say is your preferred method?
Probably email.
Email, right? So this is by no means saying, hey, we don't ever want an email from you. I never want to hear you call us, right? This is not the case. This is simply is we've been getting a lot of feedback that this tool is a lot more efficient from a quoting process, putting orders in, things like that. So when if you were to email us, our reps would actually use this tool as well to quote for you. So we figured, why not at least release it to the customers where they can use this themselves, get quotes instantly if families are right there, rather than having to wait on an email or a call sometimes. So by the end of this, if you still feel like you'd rather email, not a big deal. This is just more of, let me at least provide you an option. Actually just got off the phone here with a guy. He was 75. And he said, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. I just like to call in. And after we use this tool, he said, I take my statement back. So I feel like if he can do it, anyone can do it, right?
Yeah.
So on here where it says color, I'll go ahead and have you go to where it says color there. Yep. And this is where you can select colors. We'll do jet black just because that's kind of an industry standard right now, especially with the stencil shortage. A lot of people are shifting to jet black. A cool thing about this tool that I wasn't able to do before is you can actually click back on it. You don't have to now, but you can select as many colors as possible. So like when we're in this, what I call the gray pandemic, you can choose China gray, Georgia gray, China berry gray, India gray, berry gray, Terra gray, any gray you can think of, you can pick on here and compare just so you have everything on one screen rather than trade back and forth emails. Other thing is right next to it where it says SERP top, click that real quick and hit clear selection for me. And I'll show you why in a minute. A popular size, by the way, that we run into a lot is like a 36 by 6 by 24. Would you say that you guys sell that much, or?
That's our popular size, yeah.
Okay, it's like I read mines.
So
what we'll do, and you said and 8-inch?
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys have the best of both worlds. Some that can only do 6 or 8, they're limited to just that size. So you'll have even more possibilities. So on this length, width, and height, go ahead and type in there for me 36, 6, 24. And hit apply filters. Perfect. And the reason I didn't have you do SERP top is it's showing you all of the different special designs or anything that we hold in this size. I'll have a lot of people say, I don't really get anything except SERP tops from you guys, because when I look up SERP top, I don't see anything but standard. And this is why, is because they limit themselves to just the standard SERP top description. So now with that in mind is go ahead and click product type again. And now we'll go to SERP tops. Does that make sense why I did that? Okay. And then hit apply filters. And you'll see here next to your mouse, it says any warehouse, Columbus, and Elberton. Out of Columbus, you guys get pallet rates up to 2,800 pounds. It's one flat rate. Elberton is weight per pound. We have it right now automated to show Columbus as your preferred warehouse. I'm assuming that would make sense for you guys, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. You can have the option to toggle between Columbus and Elberton, but of course we want to make Columbus first because that's where you get pallet rates, so it's consistent. So now when you're looking at this screen, it's showing you everything we have that's a jet black 36 by 6 by 24, and it says 0, 0, and 69. So the black numbers are what are actually in the warehouse right now. So you can see we have a lot of these P5s, right? The place that really separates us from others tools, if you've ever used like a Techstone Gold or I think WTC as a site, it only shows you what's in stock, right? In a time right now where, you know, we usually have a lot more than we have currently in stock, even though still relatively speaking, it's the most. It's good to know when containers are coming. So let's say, for instance, that P2, you can see that there's 0 in stock. Click that +12 real quick. This is going to show you what's coming in on reorder already. So now you can see here in March, we have 5 coming in. In April, we have 2 containers with 4 total coming in, June 5. We usually show you around 6 months out. So now when you're sitting with a family, if we don't have something in stock, you don't have to shoot an email back. Well, when is it in stock, right? Or have to immediately tell families you have to wait. I don't know. What do you usually tell families right now? Something's not in stock. What's your turnaround time that you would tell the family?
Well, usually, I mean, we're fortunate, like I said, we've done a lot of business with World Trade and
Mhm.
get on their website and see what they have, and
Right,
then we can tell them, if it's down in Columbus, I can have it here in 2 weeks. I tell
right.
people, but
And
this whole past 6 months has all gone to crap.
yeah, and you said the nice word, maybe not the most appropriate, but but let's say for instance, you go on their site and you see it's not in stock. Do you tell your families, hey, it's going to take, some have said it's going to take till next year. Some just say it's going to take a while. What do you usually say as far
Well,
as
we've been telling people spring now. I mean, if they come in like anything from October to current, we telling people spring.
Okay. So the cool thing about this is and go ahead and click on that +12 for me real quick again, is when you click on that is we usually say for all of our truly custom, not on the water, not in stock, 180 days. And quite frankly, sometimes that's actually under promising. Like India, we've got a couple containers last week that were 2 months early. Not saying that's the precedent on every container, but this is kind of the worst case scenario. Sometimes on domestic, you'll see it'll be a little bit longer because, again, we know how domestics work. But these are pretty accurate. However, I'd still say these are estimates. So rather than saying on a P2, we don't have it in stock, you have to wait 180 days. You can see we have something coming in March. So then you would always add your buffer, right? Most companies tell me they add like 4 to 6 weeks on top of whatever a company tells them for setting in case something goes wrong, things like that. But this is very important because if you see on the bottom where it says quantity reserved -2, that's telling you, hey, there's already 2 orders been placed on this right now. So when that first container comes in, there's actually only 3 available. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yep.
I know I'm making you guys do a little math. But let's say, for instance, if it said -6, you would know then, hey, I won't get anything until that second container coming in April, right? There's so many times you wouldn't believe where companies don't even look at the quantity reserve. They'll call in saying, hey, the tool told me it was available in March. Why do I still not have it? And I asked them, did you check if there were any orders that were already placed against it? And then it gets quiet, right? So I just want to make sure we stress that part. Do you see, I guess, would this be helpful to you guys as far as just visibility on knowing what's going on?
Yeah, it's always good to know because when we have to order, everybody wants to know when to expect it. So that helps.
Exactly. And this is something too, these are ETAs to our warehouse. I say we have a pretty good staff. However, when containers come in, we're bringing on average 10 to 12 containers a week. So from a monthly scope, it's about 3 times more than our nearest competitor. So it does take time to unload containers. So I just don't want you guys to have the precedent of the day it gets here, container will be unloaded right away and it gets shipped out, right? So that's why I always say add some buffer time on this.
Okay.
For now, go ahead and click close. Other thing to note with our company is, I don't know if you guys knew this, but we don't upcharge on polish types for imports. So P2 to P5 is the same price. If you get no margin versus 2-inch margin, it's the same price. It's done overseas, right, originally, so we won't charge it. Domestics, however, it's American made. We're greedy Americans. We got to charge higher labor. That you'll see the price will increase as polish types increase. Does that make sense? Pretty simple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So the nice thing here then is if you're sitting with the family, you wanted to originally do a P2 or P3, we don't have them in stock. You would click on the plus number. Let's say that first option, the +12 said December, right? Just making something up.
Okay.
So when you're talking to a family, you'd probably buffer it 4 to 6 weeks on top of that just to under promise right now. And the conversation now can be, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Customer or family, we can definitely get this ordered. However, it's going to take some time, a couple months. We do, however, have an option that's an all polish option. It is a higher upgrade, but we won't charge you for the additional cost just because of the inconvenience. How does that work for you? And a lot of them love to hear that, right? Some people say that's an integrity play where we know on our end it's the same cost, but you can spin it in a way where you're giving them an upgrade and you're throwing them a bone at an emotional time. You know what I mean?
Right.
Other way would be, hey, we don't have any P5, same spiel. I do have a stone in the back, however, that I'll have Eric personally go back and hammer and pitch down to a P3 or P2 for you. We won't charge you the additional labor due to the inconvenience. So it can work in the opposite manner as well. Any questions on that?
Nope.
Okay. If you were a family, and it could be in any industry, but in this one, if you could get something quicker, if it was just 2 inches taller or shorter, would you think that's a viable option?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Exactly. So go ahead and go to the sizing and take away the 24, just backspace it out. And hit apply filters again. And scroll down a little bit. The cool thing about this tool is now you've looked at 30, go up a little bit. You're now looking at 36 by 6 with any height. So it'll actually sort from shortest to tallest for you. So let's say, for instance, you're sitting with a family and you're looking at a 36 by 6 by 26 all polish option, which is the second from the bottom. It shows not in stock. You hit the +1. Again, let's act like it says December, even though I think it says March right now. And you could tell the family, you never want to tell them no because it takes longer, but you can give them that option of, hey, we can definitely get this. It is going to take some time because it's being imported. However, we do have something that's 2 inches shorter, same polish. It's actually going to cost you a little bit less, and you can get it much faster. What would work best for you, right?
Right.
So again, it's providing options. And then if they choose to wait to pay less money, if it's the other option's more expensive, they'll still call you in 2 weeks asking if the stone's there, but ultimately they made the decision to wait over paying more to get it quicker. So it's not like you made that decision for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Other things, since you guys can do 8 inches, that helps a lot too, or you could even type in 36 by 8 by 24. Or you could just type in 36 and nothing else. And this tool will help you find ways to find stones, if not exactly what they're looking for, something similar. Other cool thing, if you scroll up, is you can also select the Elberton warehouse. For instance, if you guys have any domestic suppliers you use that already have a truck that's running through, you can simply have that truck come by our warehouse and pick up a stone. Which saves you on freight as well. Or if you just need it in a dire need where it's in Elberton but not Columbus, you can order it from Elberton. However, the freight rate's going to be higher because that's like a cross-country move. But it is nice to have those 2 separate options. Any questions so far? I know I'm going over a decent amount.
You're good.
See, pretty simple.
Okay. Now on here too, if you click on SERP top and upright, you can look for anything, whether it be a flush marker, bevel marker. If you do any mausoleums, like 2 crypt mausoleums, we hold some of those in stock. If it's over 5,000 pounds, it's in our Elberton warehouse. So you could find mausoleums, columbariums. Right now, we know millennials are ruining the market and we're shifting everything to cremation. So if you go to cremation unit right there, and then for subtype, this will show you all the subtypes of cremation. So you can look at a cremation couch bench, pedestal, 2 or 4 niche columbariums, huge 48 niche columbariums or 72 as well. So usually on SERP tops, I try to say don't be too specific, but on cremation units, you can see the different things to look at in case you're looking at different stuff with the family. Other cool thing is on the right side there under the search bar, there's a high price box. Bless you. So if you're sitting with a family and you don't want pricing to be shown, but you want to show them different options, you don't have to worry about like turning the screen or being discreet or, hey, what's that over there while you check the price on something. So this will help you guys as well. Another thing is under color, it says view color guide. And of course, these aren't the greatest representations of a full stone, as you know, but this can at least help show your color selection, right? So it shows imports group 1, if you scroll down all the way to group 8. And then it says domestic group 9 to group 12. This is also strategic from a business standpoint because the highest group number in that column is the most expensive. So the highest in imports is group 8, which is a blue pearl, most expensive. Cheapest would be your G1 group, which if you scroll up is, I think, China Berry Gray. So this is nice if you're sitting with the family to, one, show them your color options. Let's say, for instance, they want a tan brown monument and you can't find anything in stock and they're willing to look at other brown options. Well, you know, anything within that group will be pretty comparable from a price standpoint, or anything lower is just a cheaper option. So, hey, they love tan brown. You can present them coffee brown, Indian mahogany, which is comparable pricing, or even a cheaper option, which is rustic brown. So this can just help you as far as selling, because it doesn't tell the families what the group numbers mean, but you know it where it can help you from a sales individual. Because like if you ask me right away, hey, what's Ocean Wave compared to Paradiso? What's the pricing? I don't know the exact prices in my head, but I know it's a group 5 compared to group 1. Paradiso is more expensive, right? Same thing with domestic, group 6 versus, group 9 versus group 12. It's the same idea there. So some people think this is a cool value add, some don't. I'll leave that up to your perception, but it's there if you need it. So you can exit out of there. Another thing is that view in product catalog. So you guys should be getting some marketing here in the mail soon. However, we got feedback that people would love a digital file of it. So it says 2019. Don't worry, this is an in-stock product catalog where it's not everything we have, but it's what we typically restock on a regular basis. So the cool thing about this is, like, if you ever go, like Eric, if you're going to the barber and you're sitting there for 30 minutes, after a while, you have an internal shot clock where you start to tap your feet, right? You're like, come on, like, let's go, what's going on? Families have the same thing as far as their little internal shot clock. So when you're walking through and trying to show families options, this is very vital to find things quicker than going through a book. Not saying that that's not a good option either. Are you familiar with the Control F function on your computer?
What to do?
So hit Control F. Has nothing to do with Salem, but it can help. This will find anything in a document. So like if you're like me, I have all my passwords on a Word document of my cable, internet, everything, you name it. When you type anything in Control F, it'll find something on your document showing up for you. So on here, for instance, if you have a family coming in and they've seen like a tall oval on a poster, type in tall oval real quick. And it takes it straight to the page. So again, you could use the book. This just helps as far as finding things quick. Another thing we'll go over is, let's say, for instance, they love angels, right? So type in angel. And it says there's 2-8. That means it's 8 times it's been listed in this book. So hit that little down arrow and it'll go to every time angel is listed. So it finds the page for you automatically if you want to hurry up and try to find some type of angel page for them. Again, some people love this and think it's useful. Some just would rather use the physical book. Either way is fine. Just want to make sure to load you guys up with as much ammo as possible to help you from a sales standpoint. Does that make sense? I know it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Because this is a big thing too, as you know, when families come in, they might say, hey, I just want a flush marker, or I want the cheapest option. A lot of them say that, one, because it's true, they might not have much money. But some people, for instance, at a customer of mine, a family came in, they were looking for a flush marker. They didn't know you could do all these cool designs. So when they were talking to the family, they know they love the Block O. So they actually pulled up a picture of a Block O monument, and it was about 6 times more expensive. But it was so emotionally invigorating and captured their story of their loved one that they justified, they can buy it, they'll find a way to pay for it, right? So it's not being too salesy to at least show people different options, as you guys know. For now, you can exit out of that product catalog screen. And on this as well, you can check orders, pending designs, things like that, which we'll go into. I usually wait till a couple orders are in the system to really go over that tab, because talking about it now wouldn't be really too relevant. So we'll kind of hold off on that and I'll follow up on the orders tab. But that's pretty much the inventory tool. Nothing too crazy there. But do you have any immediate feedback or questions on anything that you've seen?
No, that's pretty, I mean, self-explanatory. It's all good.
Okay.
Pretty straightforward.
Could you see this being a benefit to you guys to use versus an email, or what's your perception there?
Well, it's always good to be able to look at the list and find it yourself. I mean, it
Right.
saves time.
Yeah, and again, because I had some people ask me like, "Are you just like saying this because you don't want me to reach out to you?" And that's not the perception. It's simply if a family's in and you can find 10 different options with 10 different colors right away, rather than email and wait, why not, right? So the last thing I'll have you do is go to the color tab and then go up to Georgia Gray. And then click back on color again. And we're also going to include China Gray. So this is like if you wanted to look at everything together. And then on the cremation unit, just put clear selection for now. Yep. And then hit apply filters. And I'm just going to put some stuff in your cart and show you how it pulls and shows. So for that first jet black there, put a 1 in that add to cart area on the right. And then click the cart. Perfect. Then do that for Georgia Gray as well. And then go over to the Elberton warehouse and put 1 for that China Gray. Now go to the top where it shows the cart. Perfect. And click that. So the price on the original sheet that you just saw before you hit the cart, those are just base granite prices. They don't include tariff and international freight surcharge. Reason being is those are presumably temporary, right? The tariff is not a Salem Stone thing. That's a political statement, and I won't get into politics. But if you email 1600 Pennsylvania Ave and he takes it off, we'd be grateful. But if they say, hey, we're done with tariffs, we would just take it off. We didn't want to have to recode and redo price books, things like that. International freight surcharge, I think I talked to you about this, Eric, it's 26 cents per pound, which again, we don't put that into the pricing on that first sheet because containers have went from $3,000 to approximately anywhere from 15 to 20,000 import. So with us bringing 10 to 12 containers in, we're spending roughly $800,000, which is about 6x times what we used to pay. So it's not that we're trying to profit on this by any means. This is just if anything, it's making us less negative on containers, right? So this isn't stuff that you might remember every time. So when you put it into the cart, it'll get the pricing for you. So where it shows tariff, it knows tariff is being pulled from that China Gray stone only. Where it says international freight surcharge, that's for any import stone. So it pulls from jet black and China Gray because it's 26 cents per pound. And then domestic gray is unaffected. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. So if you hit continue real quick, and I'm not trapping you into an order, I'm just showing you the next screen, is it actually splits it. So if you get stuff from Columbus and Elberton in the same order, it'll split it into separate orders where one will be Columbus, the other will be Elberton. So on this first one here, it's showing the Columbus warehouse. You would put the family name right there. You would just type in family name or PO number, however you identify your
How do
order.
we change this right here?
That I will change. I will change that to Eric.
Okay.
Because this is a very old login and account, so I hadn't updated it. So I apologize if that brings up any tension.
Yeah, will you change that phone number too to the
Yeah, what's the phone number that needs to be updated?
330
Okay,
426
426
2961.
2961, and I'll update the email as well. Bless you. So on the bottom there, when you scroll down, it shows the family name. So you could type in either their last name or the PO number, and then the ship to address or the ship to under it is if it's not going to your address or location, just change what the ship to is. You know, you can put ABC company, or you want to ship
No,
direct to the cemetery. What's that?
They'd all be coming here, so that's
Okay.
no problem.
So no worries there then. Some people like to ship direct to cemeteries sometimes, but you know, it's kind of situational. So on the pickup option on the right for shipping, you can either do customer pickup if you ever pick some orders up. Salem Stone's carrier is simply saying, hey, we want Salem to ship this to us. Again, you have pallet rates. Within Ohio, it's $150 for up to 2,800 pounds. However, I always advise don't go right to 2,800 because it is a 48 by 40 wood pallet. It could be susceptible to breaking if you put way too much pounds on it. If we're doing services to the order and you're not using our design tool, some people like to just send us DXF files or a sketch. Then you would click that little box there that says there will be services added to the order. That's just letting us know, because we've had instances in the past where somebody would order a blank stone, expect us to laser it, but they don't put it anywhere in the notes or let us know. So then when we ship them this blank stone, they call me aggravated of, why did you ship me this stone when I was supposed to have services done to it? So now we have a box. So we don't do that. Other thing there is the order notes. Anything pertinent to the order, like hold for consolidated weight. I know this doesn't apply to you, but some people will say ship directly to blank location just to remind us. Some will even put will email proof separately. Anything pertinent to the order, we make sure to read them before we place the order. And then scroll down a little bit. And now it's making you just do the same thing because it's the Elberton warehouse. So it's splitting into two orders. If you just did one warehouse, it wouldn't show multiple things. So go to the bottom there. And don't hit place order, because then you actually would. If you want what you've got in there, take it. So be it. But this is showing you again the total of it. And then when it comes to that time where you actually want to place the order, you would just click place order. It'll automatically pull. It'll pull from inventory. And then once our support reps on our end read your notes and hit confirm from our end, it'll send you a confirmation email showing the pricing again. So if you don't have someone like me who's talking your life away right now, you know, you could see where getting quotes and putting orders in is pretty simple. And to provide options to families, you have it at your fingertips, right?
Right.
I'm not saying you're at home on Saturdays drinking wine, making orders, but we do have people that actually put orders late night on any weekday, Saturdays, Sundays. If we're closed for holidays, the tool's still open. So this just gives you full access at all times.
Okay.
Go ahead and click back to cart, which is right there next to place order. Yeah, no worries. And then feel free, just for now, because some people have accidentally ordered it, you can click remove next to the quantity just to make sure you don't order this in the you know, when time comes up. And that is everything there. Just wanted to show you how the pricing setup was. Does that portion make sense as well?
Yes.
Okay, you guys are the easiest people I've talked to, because most people, they either can't find stuff or they still don't get it. So I applaud you. I'm sure it's still going to take some
She's making me look
practice.
good. She's doing all the work.
Yeah.
Right? It's like if Eric was up here, he'd be like, wait, where's that button? You know, where's that over there? You know? But so that's the inventory tool. The next part of it, which is even more beneficial, Eric, you saw how much, you know, good feedback we got even from MoneyCAD and Design Mart. We're at our booth, was our inventory tool. So go ahead and click design tool there. And then go ahead and you can put just test or anything in there really. Excuse me, I'm gonna get my charger as well. So what this is doing is ultimately it is the feedback we're getting is for those who use a MoneyCAD or a Gerber, Omega, Cochran's Memorial Designer, they tell us they love our tool simply because one, you can put price markups into the tool. Another thing is when you're using a CAD program, when families come in and they talk about their loved one and tell you everything about them, once it comes time for the CAD design tool, they kind of just sit back and they can't really do much else, and they can't take the mouse and start designing, right? Because it's a CAD tool, it takes time to learn. This is very interactive, where my second week in the business, I went to a customer of mine and a family had walked in, and it was actually cool. After I demoed it, they used the tool, and it was a mother and her 6-year-old child. And the 6-year-old child actually designed the monument for his grandfather with the family consultant. And he picked everything out from the pictures, the colors he wanted. And as you can imagine, that's an emotional moment. The family feels more involved. I don't mean this to sound really business-like, but you have a higher chance of getting those higher ticket sales because it's emotional, right? My wife, for instance, loves to buy jewelry. And I always make fun of her for it, but when she goes in, she sees something, emotionally, she gets attached, she buys it, right? Then she gets home, I question her on it, and she justifies with logic later. This is no different and I don't want this to sound very business-like, but the more emotion you create and more involved the family is on the front end, they will find sometimes ways to justify if they came in, they're just looking for a flush marker, but you just gave them a SERP top with designs that are perfect for them. They might find a way to just make it happen, right? So on this tool, when you click the shapes like you did, you can do benches, bevel markers, flush markers. If you scroll down even further, cremation units, uprights. Keep in mind, by the way, this design tool is in late beta testing, so we're continuously updating it. Anyone who is at the convention actually gets a sneak peek and is able to use it earlier than other customers. So Eric's, thanks for coming to our booth. There's still some improvements that may be done to it if you ever have questions. So don't feel like it's like, this is the full complete thing. It has to be done only by what we're showing. But for now, just go ahead and go to SERP top. Or before you do that, I apologize. Scroll a little bit farther down. There's custom monuments. You got to scroll, yeah, the screen. And are you using Google Chrome, by the way?
We have. We have it.
No, I'm using.
But what now? You mean?
Okay, Microsoft Edge. In the future, it's fine for the walkthrough. We encourage use Google Chrome. I'm not a tech guy, but it just works a lot more clear on Google Chrome and saves things better. Again, if I knew why, I'd fix it. But we're fine for now. So if you click special designs, it's important to get to know these like on your off time or on the back end. And you have to scroll down on there. This is very useful when families come in because, again, they don't know all these cool special designs you can do. They might tell you they want something simple, but if they're religious, they might love that Henson rocked cross that's shown. So just by showing them things after you do a discovery talk with them to learn about, hey, what are, anything about your family, what do they do for work, what do they do hobbies, and what school do they go to, getting to know them. You might in the back of your head start to think of custom monuments that might make sense to what they're describing to you. My wife loves butterflies. That would be cool if I saw a butterfly, right? Not saying it works every time, but it's worth at least showing. However, for now, go ahead and go to the SERP top. And real quick, click on the white bordered edge on the left or anywhere and hit Control- on your keyboard and hit it 2 more times. I was just doing this so you don't have to scroll. It wasn't too zoomed in so you could see more of the page. If you don't like that, you can always hit Control+ to go back to normal, because I know Eric might not see it, right? But so it will, when the update comes through, it'll also have flat top as an option. But for now, I'll go ahead and do SERP top. And then you'd pick single or companion. We'll do a companion since you said 36 by 6 by 24 was popular. And the cool thing about this is when you go over to the sizing on the right there, there's a drop down and it pretty much is just asking you what size would you like this monument to be. So we'll pick that 36 by 6 by 24. If you go to the finish, that's just the polish type. So it's P2 is the first option, P3 is the second option, P5 is the third. We have gotten feedback from some people that it's very wordy, like when you click on it again. If the first option just says front and back, which is P2, second one says front, back, and top P3. Some people have asked us just to put P2, P3, P5, and if they don't know what that means, they shouldn't be in the monument industry.
Right.
feel free to give feedback like that, because if we hear that enough, that's something that we'll look into changing. It's not like, hey, this is our tool, we made it, you deal with it, right?
Right.
For now, go ahead and do the all polish like you did. If it's a size out of the ordinary, you can actually click on custom size if you can't find the size on the standard size, and then type in whatever you're looking for. Just make sure to at least look on the standard size first. So now the cool thing is go ahead to go to color. So this is showing all of our color options. Again, this is where you can talk with families and see the different colors that they want to provide. Like you guys know, if there's an etching, only do jet black, right? Don't have to give you guys that spiel. And it will preface that too. Like if there's laser etching, I think when you change the color to like a Bahama blue, it'll either turn it to sandblast or it'll pop up an error message to remind you, just for those who hear me out, say yes, and then forget. We'll keep it jet black for now because that's pretty standard. But go ahead and go to text. And then this is where, if you double click inside of it, you can start to put in any wording. I actually, when I first started demoing our old tool, I'd always put Betty White. I did not know she was alive still, so I almost feel kind of responsible, but put in John Doe. Don't jinx people, right?
Right.
Don't put your own names on examples, please. But yeah, put like John or Jane Doe, just for the sake of this image.
Do you want the full name up there?
Sure. And then when you go to font family, you can change the font any way you like. If there's a font that's not on here that you guys want to use or like to use, let us know. That could be something where, hey, just let us know on the comments later, and when we give you a proof back, we'll change it. Some people want to do like Arabic, you know, Hebrew, Chinese. We don't put things like Chinese on tool quite yet because we don't want to be responsible if a line is missing and it goes from how are you to something left field, right? So you would just email us that after. Also, you can do the sizing option. It goes up to 6 inches. So that's up to you on what you guys want to use. Alignment is if you want it to be centered in that box or if you want it to be left or right. Again, if it's not perfectly straight, if you're like me, I have OCD, our design team does a good job of making sure to center things for you also. It's been a question we've been getting. The color is another one where you can actually fill it in like a litho. So the whole rainbow is present. However, I will preface, it is paint. So don't promise your families that a paint will last 20 years, right? Like I said, you guys know this, but the other one is style there. Which style we typically do like a deep sunk, skin, or a U sunk. The specialized ones are like the frosted edge all the way to polished raise. So if you click on those, it'll actually show those on the tool as well. Special lettering does have a $5 per letter charge. So let's say, for instance, your markup is 2 or 3. I mean, you would make as a business $5 to $10 per letter offering it. That's the business side. From the family side, it's just nice to be able to have different lettering types because not a lot of people actually talk about lettering types, and it differentiates their monument from others in the cemetery. Laser lettering, you have that option. I usually strongly advise don't do everything laser on the front of it. It's up to you. However, with this kind of stencil pandemic people are going through, and if they have their own laser machine, they're almost resorting to doing everything laser just for cash flow purpose. Next is click on art. By the way, I apologize. Click back onto that monument and see that on the lettering part of it, click on the lettering. See where it has that plus box on there? That's if you want to add or duplicate and you want to add another box to put other things on as well. So just wanted to show you that so you didn't feel like you're confined to this one box. There's also an undo button. Don't hit that now, but that little undo button, hit that. Don't hit backspace on your main browser. It's not a huge deal, but that's why we put that button there. Also, if you click on the SERP top and scroll up a little bit, it'll tell you, hey, jet black in stock, right? So this is very important too, just gives you that availability. I'll show you here in a minute and why I did inventory tool before this is those who know how to pair these tools together are usually the businesses who do the most revenue on a yearly basis. And I'll show you why soon. There's a little prod and teaser, but for now, go back to art. Click on flat carved art. You guys know as well, like a sandblasted panel or border, that's considered sandblasting or flat carving. So if you want a panel, scroll down, it's in alphabetical order to P. And click panels. There's 3 different columns. I always say just stick to the family names column, because if you show that, do you have Cheesecake Factory where you guys are at? Have you guys ever been to Cheesecake Factory?
I've known
Well, the menu is an encyclopedia. It's like 80 pages long, and you spend way too long ordering something. You usually get the same thing you've always got. So I always say you don't want to be like Cheesecake Factory, where you're showing families 200 different panel types, and it takes 3 hours to pick a panel. So just stick to this family names and scroll down. And if nothing is sufficed, then you can go back and choose other options. For now, just click that first one. And we'll use that. You can actually make it bigger with the little on the edges of it. Yep, perfect. And then it'll sync right over there.
Whoa.
And again, if you're like me, I like want to make it perfect. No worries.
Yeah.
We won't, you know, if an E's in the top of the panel, you know, we'll help you out.
Okay.
You can even put it in the comments if you're scared that we won't do that. But click on the panel. So like yep. And now you'll see on the top there, the texture finish, it can be frosted. Or if you click the drop down, it can be polished, right? Which in jet black is going to look a little bit different. So if it's frosted, you can add an outline color. So this is, I would never say to do this, but I just want you to see the difference. Click back on the panel real quick and go to outline and make it blue-green. And then make the hand painted color yellow. I know that I get the crazy face all the time. I more so just want to show you the difference of, yeah, you can do gold, that's fine. Or yellow, yeah. I just wanted to show you the difference of outline color versus hand painted color. I pray to God you guys would never do something like this. But yeah, don't ever do that unless they went to like North Dakota State. I guess that'd be the only kind of pull through you have. But just know you can change outline and hand painted colors. So that's that. That part makes sense so far?
Mhm.
Perfect. If you want to do other panels, you would just hit that little plus box button again that I showed you earlier.
Okay.
So click that just real quick.
What am I doing now?
Click on that panel. And let's say you wanted another one, go to that plus. Yep. And that would be if you wanted to duplicate it, resize it, and put it elsewhere. So feel free to do that. Some of the panels, I think there's like 2 or 3 out of all the panels we have are really huge and we can't size them down. For now, I'd say don't use them. Give us feedback if you do find 1 or 2 like that, because again, we're giving you early access.
Okay.
Click art again. And then do you guys do porcelains?
We do.
So click on porcelains. This is actually one of my favorite parts, is you can import a photo, whether it be the family brings in a thumb drive, they send it via email, or you find something if they're famous on Google and save as to your computer. So go ahead and hit browse and try to find, I'm not saying you're conceited, but if you got any headshots at all, you know, like the one I saw Eric on the website, you know, feel free to throw that on there.
Pretty sure I had one in here. Let's see.
Or we can even try any of these pictures. Sometimes they might be too big of a format, but let's use the fishy one in the top right.
Oh, this one. That's my.
Yeah, any of them's fine.
Okay.
And then hit add to gallery. And then click that picture there. Yep. And then maybe we shouldn't have probably done a black on a black, but go ahead and drag. Yeah, and drag that down and go to shape.
Where's she? Oh, okay.
Yep. And you can make it any of those sizes, or I mean, any of those shapes. So if you do a heart, we only have one size. However, if you do squares or ovals, then you can do the drop down of what size you would like. And if this were a pictured porcelain, you can click that black and white box. If you want to turn it to a black and white photo, this was kind of a bad example because it's already black and white.
Right.
But just know it has that option for you.
Okay.
Also, if you click on porcelain portraits again, or no, don't click on that, my bad. Click on art. And by the way, I'm kind of jumping all over the places. See above that SERP top, how there's that plus box button. See where there's a crop option?
Mm-hmm.
If you have like a family picture of Disney, I've actually heard this before, is we have this great picture of dad, however, it has all of us in it, and I want to crop us all out. If you click that crop button, it's hard to see on jet black with the black image, but it'll leave a circle that's black, and you can crop the image to include or exclude anything in that picture, just so you have that as well.
Okay.
Because sometimes people hate with families, they're like, yeah, we'll just put the full picture and I promise it'll be right out when we get the proof. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So for now, go ahead and go to flat carved art again. We've gotten feedback on this that rather than columns, some people would also like a search bar, which is something that we're also thinking about in our next update. Just so people don't have to go through columns to look for stuff. Like if grandpa loved to fish, they just want to type in fish and find images, right? For now, we don't have that, but we will update it. But for now, pick any of those that you like. So like Tara, what's something you like to do for fun? I'm putting you on the spot.
We like to go riding.
Like, are you talking like motorbikes?
Side by side. Side
Okay.
by side. Yeah.
Like horses or motorbike?
Like a
Motorbike.
motorbike. But
Okay. So click back on the angel. We'll see if we have anything that's like transportation. Let's see. So I don't think we have anything as far as bike options. It might be in miscellaneous. This is well, there you go. You need to be the one presenting the tool, not me. You already found it. So again, I'm not going to say all of these pictures are the best and families will love them, but in the event that they don't find one they like, click back on the vehicles up there and you can upload your own art. We won't do that right now just because we already upload something, but if they bring something in or email it to you, they can put anything they want on the monument, which just further enhances them being involved. Since it is sandblast, as you know, if they want a picture of like their mom, like we can't get that really defined on the hair, right? Because it is sandblast. But click on that sandblasted ATV on the monument, and you can change the outline and painted color of that as well, or if you want it frosted or polished. Obviously, if it's polished, it's not going to be cut into the stone, so it won't give you the option to change the color when you do that, which makes sense. So then go back to art. And now we're going to do a laser. We're just going to throw one of each on there. So again, same thing with the search bar option we're looking into. For now, let's look into a cross per se. And it will say spots or scenes because we can do both. So pick any of those that you like. Again, if you don't like it, if the family doesn't like any of the options, they can upload their own image again. So they're not limited to whatever we show. It's whatever they want, they can put on there within reason, right? I've seen some pretty crazy stuff online of what people put on and allowed, but we won't cover that. So let's assume everything's good to go there. Now, if you right under the SERP top, there's a front and a back button. Right under it, right under the fishy.
Yep.
It'll flip it if you want to design the back of the monument. So we don't have to do that now, but there's different charges that go into that. For now, let's go into base. And the reason bases aren't automatically added to it is some people have told us in the past that they do benches or things like that, they don't want to base on it automatically. So that's why you have to select it. Okay. And it's the same process as the SERP. So now if you do the finish on it, the finish might look a little bit complicating. There's PFT, BRP, there's 2-inch margin, there's rock pitch nosing, all polished, which I don't see a lot of people do all polished.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've never seen that yet.
Let's keep it that way because if you get someone that mows the lawn and they chip it, it's easier to see. So that's why people don't usually get it. But feel free to pick any of the first two for just this sake. Following additional charges, finish change will cause the item size to be set to 36 by 8 by 6. Okay. So go to the size real quick. And you can go to whatever size for the base that you'd like. Everyone's a little bit different. Of course, it's either 6 inches or 8 or a foot longer. Lastly, add a vase. And we can do turn vases or square vase, turn vases or square tapered. If you want to do another one, you can go ahead and just click that plus box. And then for sizing, yeah, so you can drag, perfect. And then for sizing, you can change the sizes on it as well. We're going to actually try to limit it because I feel like there's way too many options there. As far as sizes, is really only like 3 industry standards. And other thing I'm going to have you do is, by the way, this automatically saves as you go. Go to the top there where it says settings next to your cart in the top right. And do my profile, or actually do manage price sheet. I apologize. And you don't have to tell me exactly what it is. Some don't really care. Some make it a big point. So that's why I preface it that way. Do you guys usually mark up like 2, 2.5, 3? What is like your standard markup, would you say, on stones, Eric?
Probably 2.5.
So go, you can scroll down and fill in every color and every size and whatever it may be. I'd rather you not. So scroll up. And for default, all stones, that first one there, just type in 2.5. And then for services like sandblast, laser etching, is it the same there, Eric?
Well, usually we that's already, everything's figured in at 2.5.
Okay. So I was just making sure because we have a stone upcharge and then a design upcharge. So we'll just make that 2.5 for the service part as well. You can always change this too. There's also, like we said, the tariff. I don't really ever see people who want to upcharge tariffs. They usually just pass it on to the family. So for that, you can just put 1. And by the way, when I did default for all services 2.5, if you look below it, there's 6 boxes. You can fill those in separately if there's different upcharges accordingly. I just made one big flat rate so you don't have to type everything in for now. So then hit save price sheet in the top right. And then save markups. And then go to pending designs, since we've already started making one, and click edit. And now on the very bottom of this monument, see where it shows the price?
Yeah.
That's your markup retail to the family. So again, you don't ever have to turn the screen. What's that?
That's what we charge them.
Exactly. Because other tools you can't, I've heard you can't add markups, or they have to turn the screen so they don't show their wholesale rate. This does all the work for you. We've actually updated it. So now this screen is with tariff and with international freight surcharge. It didn't used to do that, but that we got a lot of feedback on it. So we made sure now it's all accurate what shows. If you ever change anything, it'll make you click refresh and see the price again. It doesn't show pricing right away. It'll actually say click for price, for the same reason that we don't want the family focusing on that till the very end, right? We want to build that emotional factor.
Right.
Any questions there? I know a lot of people, what's your feedback on that part? Is that something that you think would be helpful?
Yeah, the only thing we do have a question on is designs that we have here. Are we able to import if you don't have them, or how do we work that?
Yep, so that would be similar to the upload your own art. I know something we've talked about on our end for the same thing you just said is people want to build their own library. So that's something we're looking into, as well as if you have standard floral designs that you like to use on certain things, or, you know, certain designs for certain aspects, we're looking into possibly building out libraries for each individual person. So whenever you use it, you would just hit save and it would stay there for the remainder of your time you use the tool.
Okay.
For now, it's just upload it. So one small little extra step, but we're definitely looking into it. So good question.
Okay.
So that's it. Another thing too is if you click on the base and you scroll up, it'll tell you if that is in stock or out of stock. So it's showing you this base is out of stock as a 48 by 12 by 6. So one reason why I went over the inventory tool is a lot of people that use these together know how to manipulate sizing. So go to the inventory real quick, that tab, and change the color to jet black. And then make it a base. And then type in 48 by 12 by 6 since it said it was out of stock. Out of stock doesn't always mean it's custom. It could just mean it's coming on a container. So since we were doing a 2-inch margin on this, it's showing, click that first arrow to the left of that on the very, very left to see the description. So I think it was pulling as a 1.5 margin. So we just know we need to do 2 inches because we have 95 of them in stock. Let's act like, however, though it said there were 0 in stock. Click on the plus 143, assuming it said 0, not 95. And you would know, okay, it's not in stock. However, Salem's getting it on container in 2 days, right? So it might not be in stock, but it's not truly custom 180 days. Other cool thing you can do is go ahead and hit X. Let's say it said that Surf Top wasn't in stock either. You could do that cool trick we did where you would type in 36 by 12. You could look at 36 by 12 by 6. And then, oh, I mean, sorry, 36 by 6 by 24. I'm stuck on base sizes. And then hit apply filters.
Yeah, but that's base. We need to change.
Exactly. You don't, yeah, exactly. Perfect. And then now you can see if it was a P2 or a P3, you could see when those are coming in stock to see if that is fine with you. If not, you know that you have 69 P5s in stock. So now go back to pending designs and you'd have the price hidden if you're with the family. Go to edit and then you could change it so it goes back to in stock. Does that make sense?
So the size we're after.
Exactly. So you can almost manipulate what's in stock. If it says out of stock, you have a proper ETA. So that's the reason I went over the inventory tool first is even if you don't order from it, customers who know how to use that tool to pivot to something that is coming either now or closer, they love that because it's full transparency to the family.
Okay.
Again, the ETAs are from container to our warehouse. It does take time to unload it. And then for services, pre-COVID, we were 30 days for services. Right now, because fuel ran out of stencil and there's a huge stencil shortage, we've gotten an influx of design business. So we said right now it's around 45 to 60 days. I personally would rather just go with 60 on the latter half to be safe. So you have to counter that in as well as the ETA before you add your buffer. So I'm just, don't want to confuse you, but just want to make sure that's known as well.
Gotcha.
So now let's say everything looks good. If it says out of stock, it's coming in early enough, you're good with it. Go ahead and scroll down and then click the proceed button. And this is kind of cool because some people don't have internal statements like for contracts. Do you guys do like a setting charge, foundation charge, anything, any ancillary charges at all?
No, we put those into the pricing. We just incorporate it in.
Okay.
Foundation charge.
Well, we have foundation charge, yeah,
Okay,
but not.
so then
setting.
for additional charges, go ahead and click on that. And then type in whatever that would be for this size out of curiosity.
Oh, what are we at? A 48. Right?
Sorry, I just put you on the spot. Perfect. And now that bottom number is y'all in charge. So this has nothing to do with our company, but some people will hit Control P and they'll print this document off, have the family sign it. And it's almost like an internal verbal agreement that they're going to buy this stone from you. That has nothing to do with proof signatures, but if it's helpful to you, great. If it's not, at least I showed it to you, right?
Right.
Another cool thing is if you go up, you can hit print. So go ahead and hit print. You don't have to right now, but it does print with the pricing portion of it. So be cognizant of that. If you don't want to, that's not a big deal. Hit cancel. That's something we're going to look into too, is possibly showing it without the pricing. Other thing you can do is hit email quote. So instead of hitting proceed on that last screen, there was something next to it that said email. You can actually type in the family's email. You can CC, you know, if you have an internal address you want to receive this email as an acknowledgement, you can do that. You can change the subject line. You can put any notes in there, which would be the body of your message. And then you could send the email. So that's kind of a cool thing if families can't come in or you just want to follow up on something. Go ahead and hit edit design real quick. And click that email at the bottom, right next to proceed. So this is where you would ideally want to do it because it doesn't have this option on the next screen, is where you do everything. If you click display the price, it will send them the picture and the price. If you keep that box unchecked, it will only send them that SERP top. Some people get nervous with that, so you can test my statement and send it to yourself. I promise it is going to work. One thing we are working on, which I'm being fully honest, is that picture right now looks really small. And when you send it as an email, it comes through pretty small. It's not as big as some of our customers would like. So that's another thing we're going to be looking into, is making that a lot bigger of an image for them to see. But at least I just want to preface that with you as well, because you're getting early access.
Set it up to where you click it and it then enlarges.
That's good feedback, right? So people just said, hey, it's too small. So that's good to know. Hey, maybe we can enlarge it. So that's something we'll take in account. But let's go back to proceed. Sorry, I was going back and forth here. And now you scroll down, prices look great. Let's say on the notes, there's something you want to add in there, whatever it may be, any notes, right? Because I think ultimately, I think we wanted Eric to be able to revise anything, right? If anyone's actually putting orders through, go ahead and put any notes that would be relevant for Eric to read.
Yeah.
What's that, Eric?
He had to answer the phone real quick.
Okay. So these notes would be anything relevant that you want to put. Like if the design tool wouldn't allow you to change something or turn it in a certain way you'd like, because by the way, I didn't show you the turn option. It'll have the bubbles like this, and then it'll have a bubble on the top. You just hold it down and you can turn it. You can throw in, you can say, we'll email Hebrew lettering separately. You can send, please send to cemetery directly. I mean, if you want to tell us what you ate for breakfast, throw it in the notes. It's something that we make sure to read before orders are processed.
Let me go to the other office.
Next step is ready to process. So click that. By the way, before you do that, it's not a big deal.
Too
It's
late.
fine. It's fine because I know Eric was coming back. But
He's
now
on the other phone.
So now, since I know Eric wants to be the one that's submitting the orders through, is that something you said you'd be doing as well, or no?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. So like if a Tammy and Chris were using this, they are now done, right? It didn't submit the order through, but now when you log on and you go to your pending designs, whatever says proposed is someone was sitting with a family and they have submitted the design and said, we're good to go with the family. So what your next step is as the manager, if you will, is you're going to hit preview. And you're going to check, make sure the pricing looks good. You can go in, don't click it now, but you can go into edit design if you want to double check, any pictures or things like that, just to make sure Tammy and Chris didn't get anything wrong. Or if you want to look at the availability dates, like, hey, we need something earlier, this won't cut it. You can edit the design and then scroll down. And then this will be where you're putting notes in again for us to read as Salem. When you're done, now you'll hit finalize design. And I know Tara, and I apologize, some people have said this seems very tedious. If you're the person sitting with the family, you do have to do all these steps yourself. So you would hit submit design, go to preview, hit finalize design. And the last step to actually put the order through, don't click it.
I'm not.
Okay. Is you would click that check mark and it would say confirm yes or no. Once you hit yes, it will it'll reserve the stone out of our inventory, and then it'll shoot the proof directly to our design team. In 1 to 3 days, the latest, you'll get a proof back from them for the family to sign. Reason why we send you a proof back, because some companies don't. We just want to make sure if the family spelled friend wrong, or they said give thank to God rather than thanks to God, that they're liable, not you or I, right?
Right.
I couldn't tell you how many times families get the name wrong and then they want to go to you and say it's your fault. That's why
Or
we
the
have
date. Yeah, where the date's
Yeah.
wrong and it's our fault because we're
Yeah,
supposed
it's
to.
like, come on, you know your last name better than I do. So
Right.
then you'll get an email from the design team, either Jonathan or Nicole. If that proof needs revisions done to it, just email that email back and say, hey, we need the font larger, or we want the picture to be bigger. Just tell us whatever revision needs done. Again, 1 to 3 days, you'll get another proof back.
Okay,
So
good.
it's not until it looks exactly what the family looks like where you will sign it and then send it back to us.
Okay.
So that's where I wanted to preface with you is this is perfect for multi-level companies, those who have multiple locations, or a tiered structure like you guys or Chris and Tammy do some of the, sitting with the families, but you and Eric ultimately want to see everything. This is perfect because they'll submit the design. You actually have to proof it, make sure the pricing looks good, put any notes in there. Then you hit finalize design, and then you hit order with the check mark. I apologize if you're the one who's sitting with the family and we're making you do 3 clicks, but we're just doing it to cover everyone's butt.
Yep. No, we're good with that.
If you ever wanted, of course, we have really comparable sandblasting and laser rates, which I talked to Eric about. But in the event, we are cognizant some monument dealers do their own sandblasting. If you were to click on that assets button, let's go ahead and do that. Hit download assets. This will now save a DXF file to your downloads. So what you can do is if you have a design tool you use that's set up with your plotter, you can import this file into it, plot the design out, and sandblast it.
Oh, right. Because Eric he does all of our lettering and our sandblast design. So.
And that's why our previous tool wasn't able to do that, which means monument dealers didn't want to use it because you'd have to recreate the image again, which is an extra step. You don't have our images. So this is very useful because let's say, for instance, you want to use this to consult with the family and show them the sandblast still. Well, one thing you'll be able to do is if you put in the notes, and I would put all caps just for now. We only want Salem to do the laser etching. We will do sandblasting in-house. Then our girls or guys in our support team will make sure to delete that sandblast price line item off of the list for your confirmation order. And we'll send you the Surcharge lasered, and then you can sandblast it yourself with that file.
Okay, now how does the price work with that? Because obviously you guys aren't going to do that work for free, giving the stencil and creating that, right? So what's the cost?
Why can't you just trust us? I'm just kidding. So right now it's free tool. So anyone who doesn't use the assets part of it for DXFs, it is free and will remain free. However, those who want to export their own DXF, and this isn't greedy, it's we know we're missing out on that service business. Right now, since you have early access, there's no charge to it. Now, one thing I will preface, because I'm very straightforward and honest, is we know Monuvision, MonuCAD, Gerber, Memorial Designer, LXI, all of those charge either subscriptions or one-time fees. We're still in the process of figuring out what we want to do. I would just rather be honest with you on the front end is there probably will be a charge associated in the future. We just don't know yet because we're still trying to do our research and see how we can be market correct.
Okay.
But for now, that's what I'm saying. Use it as much as you can because there's no pricing affiliated.
Yeah, I think Eric will like that. If he's able to, if we can work it up and he can put it into his to print it out with this on the stencil, I mean, that would be beneficial for him.
Yeah. The one thing though I will preface too is the only thing I'd be careful with is and we're still looking into this, is dealers like yourself who do their own sandblasting, is be careful showing pricing because it will have, soon it's going to show like with the price, and if you highlight it, it'll show a line item, die, base, SERP top, flat carving, laser etching. So you just want to make sure you're not showing them the sandblasted portion because Eric is doing that.
Right, okay.
So Eric, we were kind of going over how this tool has an ability where if Tammy or Chris is sitting with the family and they are cool with the design, they'll hit submit design. Now it'll pop up here and the status will say proposed. So whenever you or Tara pull this tool up and you see anything that says proposed, this means either, what's that?
I was just showing him where it would say it.
Okay. This means either if Tara was sitting with the family or if Chris or Tammy's sitting with the family, they have said this design looks good with the family and they submitted it. It didn't make an order because we need you to revise it because that's what you guys wanted to do. So you would just click on preview and you would make sure, hey, maybe we want to see if there's different sizing options. You already hit, yeah.
Well, I told him, because you have your standards, like you do a certain font size for a certain style. So to keep your OT based styling, you don't want Tammy and us putting stones in that aren't going with what you do.
So if we wanted to say, we want to cut this stone, you have a feature to send this to the plotter or no?
So I'll go over that with you too real quick, and we'll make something quick to show Eric. Go ahead and hit design tool. And just put test 1285 or something. And then just do a quick flush marker. And then put an art, do single, and then do art, and just pick something real quick as far as flat carving, just for the sake of showing Eric.
There is a lot more design. We was playing with this yesterday. Well,
this again, Eric, when you scroll down at the bottom left, it says click to refresh price and availability.
Oh, right here.
It now has your markups included. So we'll click that. One thing we're looking into is to show a line item where it will say, let's act like it was a serpent base. It'll say SERP top, retail charge, base, retail charge, flat carving, retail charge, laser etch, retail charge, tariff, IFS. So I would just be careful, since you do your own sandblasting, is showing them the price we'd have to figure that out, because if you're doing your own sandblasting, well, it's not our charge, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But go ahead and hit proceed. So let's say we're with the family right now, and this is Tammy or Chris hitting proceed. They see the pricing on it. So scroll down a little bit. Any foundational charges, things like that. And they'll put notes. So let's just say, hey, Eric, check the font, not sure. And then hit ready to process. So see how now it says proposed? So now if you see proposed, you or Tara will then click on preview, because they're done at this point. They don't touch anything else. And then you can look at the cost, make sure everything looks fine. You can even go to edit design, and if you want to check if things are in stock, or you want to change the text, like Tara said, you have a standard text you use, you can do that, and then scroll to the bottom. And that's where they were putting, hey, Eric, check the font. If you've done that, you're good to go. Go ahead and delete the notes, because now these notes will be to Salem, if that makes sense. So this could be like, hey, I use Helvetica Roman font. It wasn't on the tool. Please make font Helvetica Roman on the proof. And then when you get your proof back in 1 to 3 days, it'll have that font you want. Or if it's, hey, family wants Chinese lettering, we will email separately, right? We'll make sure to change that for you. And then as you or Tara, you would hit finalize design if everything checks out. And then this is where you would hit this assets thing right here. And what that does, Eric, is you can download the GXF file. So you can actually export that and you can plot and sandblast yourself.
Gotcha.
Now I can send that to you.
Gotcha.
So if you have a tool that's linked to your plotter, I would just obviously hit the import button on a lot of these tools that people have. They'll import the file, plot it, and cut it. That's where the notes column, Eric and Tara, is very important. is please mention if, you know, would we love to do all the services? Of course, right? I'm a sales guy. Of course I'm gonna say that. But let's say, for instance, you want us to do the laser, but you're doing the sandblast. I just say put in all caps for now, because I'm all about under promising. Put Salem will only laser, OT Bait and Sons will do the sandblasting. So then we'll know when we confirm the order on our end to delete the sandblast charge, so you're not getting charged for it, obviously. And then we'll send you the Circ with the laser done. You'll be able to sandblast it yourself when you get it.
Gotcha.
If you don't put any notes, we assume we're doing it all. I'm just saying, you know, not sounding greedy. It's just we got to know, you know, because I already feel like I sense people that forget to write stuff. We're gonna send them stuff done, and then it's like, well, Winston, it's your fault because you forgot to tell me how to write it in, and I said I did, and then we play that game, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Right.
So that last part there too, Tara, and I'm showing Eric because I know you know now, is the last part to actually order it is you can click that check mark on any of them. And this is where you'll put in your family name, the same thing as the inventory tool. So if you use the design tool, you'd never order from the inventory tool. That's only for blank stock, or if you want to send us a DXF file and you want to use your design tool. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's when you just do customer pickup, Salem Stones carrier, any order notes particular to it. And then once you go scroll down and you hit, don't hit this now, but you hit place order, you're done. It reserves the stone, and then it sends a proof to the design team. And then Eric, again, in 1 to 3 days, 3 days being the latest, you'll get a proof back from either Nicole or Jonathan. And if what we need is a family signature, so you guys don't have liability if the family spelled something wrong. If you still need something done to that proof, just email that email, just reply to that email and say, hey, please make font a little bit bigger, or family wants to actually use this photo instead. They'll give you another proof back. If it actually looks great, everything's good to go, just have it signed and send it back to us and you're done.
Gotcha.
So it seems strenuous when I'm talking about it, just because I'm going very fine detail like into it. However, you could see if it wasn't just Winston building a monument or Tara, where the family can be really involved from the art as far as importing things. You know, if you show active listening, say, hey, I know you mentioned dogs, like, do you want to throw like something about the golden retriever in there, and they can find some cool dogs, or you can import something on Google. So the family is just very involved in the monument process, and you've never turned the screen for pricing, unless you want to hide the sandblast, but it's just very open, and there's no like shady feeling at all or anything like that. So I know I just threw a sink and a half at you, and it's going to take some time to digest and play with it. But do you have any questions over anything we've been over so far, or at all?
Other than how do I delete these two out of here so they don't go forward?
Exactly. I will ask our tech team to delete those for you. You'll even have to remember when we hit the first submit order, like what Tammy or Chris would do.
Yeah.
If they just hit save and exit, like the family says, hey, we're not done, you know, we got to come back later. They just won't hit submit. They'll just hit save and exit, and status will say open. So open is anything that hasn't had a design submitted with the family.
Okay.
Yeah, anything your way, Eric?
No, it's just a matter of playing with it, and I'm sure I'll have questions after I start playing with it some more.
Yeah, exactly. It'll take some at-bats, but do you think, because I don't like to assume, would this be beneficial to help you guys from a business standpoint, from not only presenting and design, but also just having visibility?
Yeah,
Well, without a doubt.
for sure. I mean, everybody likes to see what they're purchasing, and so that visual is nice.
And
then
you get
having
color. Yeah, and you get color renderings too, which is nice.
right, yeah.
So I'll let you guys
Yeah.
play with that. What's that?
One question I do have, like we have a stone that's kind of odd shaped. If you don't have that style of a stone in there to design, is that something that we can add? Like we import the designs?
Perfect. So that's a great question. Is even on the inventory tool, if you're looking for custom stuff, if it's not on the inventory tool, just email us. We can make anything happen as long as you give us a sketch or picture with some type of dimensions on it. As far as the design tool, of course, we don't have every 20,000 items in stock on there. So if there's something you can't find, this is either a great option or horrible option, you tell me, is some people will just tell us on an email, hey, we want tall oval. They'll go through the design on the tool and they'll find like a regular SERP top just to get a layout formatted. And they'll take a picture, send it to us in an email and say, can you give me a rendering on a tall oval with this design? And we can knock that out in 1 to 3 days for you. We just don't have that capability on the tool to do every type of, shape, which that's where the CAD design tools help. But, I don't see it being a big problem because we get proofs back so quick.
Right, yeah, 3 days.
Or if you have something truly custom, like you have grandma loved an ice skate and you want to do a stone shaped like a skate and laser the laces on it, you could even do that on your CAD tool and just send us that file if that's easier for you, because I don't want to reinvent the wheel.
Okay.
So that's all I got. I know I just kind of talked your head off there. I apologize, but hopefully hopefully these tools are active now. And any feedback you get at all, Tara or Eric, please keep me in the loop, because it could be something that we'll either already looking to update, like the things we already talked about, or it could be something new no one's brought up, and we'll do some type of survey to see if people think it's beneficial.
Okay.
Sound like a plan?
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
Well, hey, I appreciate you guys. I'll let you guys get back to it because I know you're busy, and I'll follow up probably in the next week and a half or 2 after I see orders get placed, because there's another tab of how you can track and manage your orders. I just want to wait till that's actually relevant.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. You guys take care. All right.
You
Thank
too.
you.
We'll talk to you later.
All right now. Bye.
Bye-bye.